Hi, my name is Jill Weldum. I am a licensed mental health professional and marriage and family therapist here in the Central New York community. I have worked over my 25-year career with people who have issues having to do with health. I started out working with people in hospitals at Crouse and Upstate, and currently have a private practice in East Syracuse and Rome, and help couples, individuals, kids, and families handle all sorts of situations. My particular specialty that I've developed over all that time has been focused on helping people who have health problems, whether it is a child with cancer, or a woman with fibromyalgia, or a person with Parkinson's. I've been really blessed and lucky to be part of Empower Parkinson's for the last 3 years as a volunteer, and now also as the person who runs their support group efforts. So that is who I am, and I am very fortunate to have been invited to talk with you today about mental health issues and what I've decided to call mindset. It is not a new term. Sarah King came and presented on mindset as a physical therapist several years ago here in Syracuse. But how I'm going to be talking about it is specific to how you use it to get better quality of life out of every moment and hour and day of your life. So Parkinson's disease steals things from you, steals away little things day by day, or sometimes really big things. It takes away our ability to communicate, to move, to think, feel. And in that realm of stealing, I would like to suggest that we start stealing back. I want you to think about stealing back some of what Parkinson's has taken from you and holding on to what you currently have. When you think about your mindset, I want you to think about catching it. Catch. It's an odd spelling, I know. C-A-C-H. There's no T in this catch. But I found that there are 4 ingredients to a mindset that helps us cope with difficult times in our lives. And in part, I want to thank the boxers that I work with at Empower, because they have taught me a lot about the kind of mindset we need to get through tough things. The first C in catch is community. Community is critical. Having people who have walked the path that you're walking, people that care about you, people that know how to laugh with you. Community is a critical part of a good mindset. Acceptance. There's an old saying, and I will not get it right, but being able to accept the things that we can't change is really important in any chapter of our life. So accepting what we can and can't change. The next letter is C, and that's choice. I think that remembering that we have choice in how we take care of ourselves, that we may not like the choices that we have, but as soon as we recognize that we do have choice, then we have some power over what happens in our life. So choice is really critical in your mindset. And last but not least is H for hope. Having hope changes everything. I built my practice on the idea of hope. I attended a training 25 years ago, and the primary focus of that training had to do with how we tell the story of our life. And if we hold on to hope, we can get through anything. As a professional and as a mother and a partner, I know that sometimes I lose hope and people around me lose hope. So we don't have to have hope for ourselves every single minute of the day. We can hold hope for each other, but hope is a critical ingredient in a good mindset. So I want to talk a little bit about how we think of our life. This author from The Gift of Years, she sums it up really nicely, which is why I put her quote up. But often we'll think of our life as having a beginning, a middle, and an end, one long, straight story. And I think it's more helpful for us to think about our life as a series of chapters. When we see our life as one long story, possibilities become limited. How we define who we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago stays static. It limits the possibilities of how we can define ourselves today. When we look at our life as a series of chapters, possibilities open up. Things that are really challenging that we're dealing with right now might be accompanied by gifts, by possibilities. So instead of limiting our way of looking at life, let's imagine our life as a series of chapters. And we're going to talk about this chapter of your life with Parkinson's. I'd like you to try a little exercise. I would like you to close your eyes for just a moment. And I would like you to come in and really get close and connected to your core self. You may call it your spiritual self. You may think of it as the essence of who you are. Get quiet and listen. And I want you to ask your core self how it feels as it listens to what I say next. In this chapter, you have a choice of how you live your life. Do you want to have most days filled with sadness, bitterness, hopelessness, isolation? Or do you want this chapter of your life to have connection, hope, choice, moments of joy, moments of sadness? I'm really hoping that you pick option B, because that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of this talk. Because I come from the mental health world, I hope I can bring something that will be useful in understanding a little bit about how our minds work and what kinds of things can cause trouble for us. And sometimes there's small little bits of trouble, and sometimes there's bigger, more ongoing kinds of trouble. We know that our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs will guide how we behave, and that affects our lives every single day. It affects our relationships. It affects our health. Parkinson's can cause trouble in our brains by how it affects dopamine and then how the rest of our body is responding to that situation. What we're going to talk about now for a little bit is how depression and anxiety and a few other mental health issues can come up because of Parkinson's being a person at your personal table. I like to talk about us each having an executive table in our heads, and at that table there are lots of different parts to us, right? So Parkinson's has pulled a chair up to your executive table, and we need to deal with that. And with Parkinson's at the table, a few other chairs might get pulled up as well. So the most common mental health issues that come with Parkinson's are hallucinations, paranoia, delusions, anxiety, and depression. I started with the three that are least common because we're going to spend the least amount of time on them. So let me just very briefly discuss hallucinations. Hallucinations is when our brains, it's telling us that we see or hear or feel or taste something that's actually not there. Visual hallucinations are the most common, and I'll give you a really short, simple example. So let's imagine that Robert is sitting at home one evening. Robert has Parkinson's. He's watching television. It's maybe dusk, a little bit later in the afternoon or evening, and his wife Joan is in the kitchen making dinner. And Robert's sitting there watching his favorite television show, and all of a sudden he sees a little furry creature run by, and he thinks, that was a dog. And just before he calls out to his wife he remembers that they don't have a dog. That is how a hallucination can present. Usually, if someone is going to have an issue with hallucinations or delusions, it's going to be starting in the later end of the day, in the evening. It's when we're more tired. That's sort of what a hallucination might start as. Pretty innocuous, but it's like, oh wait, we don't have a dog. How did I just see that? It's our brain. It's playing a trick on us because of what's happening with Parkinson's, because of what might be happening with medication. Delusions are times when we believe things that are not true. Sadly, typically the things that we're believing have to do with our loved ones. We might believe that they are out to hurt us in some way, or we might believe that we're being followed. This is not a typical occurrence for people with Parkinson's. It's only around 8%, and it often happens at the very end stage of the disease. But if you find that you are having beliefs about someone that has traditionally loved you and you have no reason to think that that person is trying to hurt you, or if you believe that you are being followed when you're out in public, please talk to your doctor. You have privacy. HIPAA guarantees that. You can tell your doctor what you're thinking, what you're worried about, and your doctor will be able to help you. Paranoia is very similar to delusions, but it is based more on feelings. It's based on having a chronic feeling of suspicion or fear. Again, if you find that you are feeling this way on a regular basis, please talk to your physician. Your physician is the right level of care, and they can look at your medications, which in most cases is what's causing those problems. Now we're going to move on to much more common issues of anxiety and depression. I do want to mention that obviously you don't have to have Parkinson's to be feeling anxiety or depression. Many people do around the world, and they do not have a disease that they're struggling with. So if you are listening to this and you don't have Parkinson's, but you see yourself in these descriptions and these symptoms, please get some help for yourself too. Your loved one with Parkinson's will want that for you. Okay, so anxiety, about half of people with Parkinson's will experience what's considered a symptomatic level of anxiety at some point during their disease. What that means is that they experience the symptom, whether it's anxiety symptoms or depression symptoms, often enough for a long enough period of time. Usually it's 2 to 3 weeks. Usually it's having these symptoms for most days of each week. You feel that for at least 2 to 3 weeks. That's considered a symptomatic level of anxiety or depression that the psychiatric world can define as a disorder. For my purposes in working with you and talking with you, if you see on this list symptoms that you're having, even if you have them once a week, if they're bothering you, get some help. And I'm going to talk in a little bit about what kind of help to get. So with anxiety, the typical symptoms with anxiety is excessive worry, fear, that weird butterfly kind of feeling in your stomach, your chest feeling a little bit tight. You may find that your muscles are tense quite a lot. You have trouble concentrating or relaxing. You may have obsessive compulsive type behaviors that come with that. And at its most extreme, you may find that you're experiencing waves of terror. With depression, about 30 to 60% of people with Parkinson's experience depression symptoms. And that is considered a chronic low mood, chronic meaning it's there the vast majority of the time, or a chronic irritability. Some people experience depression through an irritable or angry channel versus a sadness, feeling down channel. People that are having depression may experience thoughts of suicide or desires for suicide or death. They may feel excessively tired or some chronic physical pain. they might not feel pleasure in life the way that they used to, or in the things that they used to do. Their sex drive will have dropped, and they may find that they are lethargic, they just feel tired and fatigued all the time, and that their memory isn't working as well as it used to. For both anxiety and depression, sleep and food are affected as well. Now, let's talk just for a minute about having a health issue, such as Parkinson's, and having things change in our body. So Parkinson's creates change in how our food tastes, which can create change in our appetite or our enjoyment of food or our desire to eat. So as we are talking about these symptoms, please keep in mind that it's a cluster of these symptoms that define having anxiety or depression. Sleep is the same kind of thing. Your sleep is affected by how your brain is operating. If you are having trouble sleeping, or if you find that you want to sleep all the time, and you are feeling chronically sad, thinking about death sometimes, having memory loss, then because that change in your sleep is also coming with these other symptoms, it may be that you have a depression happening. So again, both anxiety and depression can affect food, can affect sleep, but those two things alone are not indicators of anxiety or depression. Okay, what causes anxiety and depression for people with Parkinson's? For anxiety and depression both, how your brain chemistry is changed by simply having Parkinson's may cause anxiety or depression. Again, doesn't guarantee it. It's 30 to 60% for depression, about half for people with anxiety. But our brain chemistry does affect our mood. So brain chemistry, the effect from the disease itself. What we have to face and live with every day when we have a chronic illness or a chronic disease, that affects how we think, it affects how we relate to others, it affects how our body feels, it affects our careers, it can affect every single aspect of our life. So those changes, losing our career, having strain in our relationship with a loved one, those can bring on anxiety or depression as well. So it might not be the disease exactly itself in your brain that's causing it. For anxiety, having a fear about our present and our future can trigger anxiety. A chronic fear, facing something like Parkinson's and then knowing that we are going to be living with Parkinson's for the rest of our lives, and wondering how we're going to handle the various things that come up as we age, can bring on fear, can bring on terror. For depression, having serious regret over something that happened in a previous chapter in our life, that can bring on depression with any kind of health problem. If we develop fibromyalgia, if we develop arthritis, if we develop something that affects our body on a day-to-day basis, that gives our minds time to think about the things that we did in the past and the things that we didn't do in the past. If you are living with chronic, regular regret around something, think about talking to someone about it to see if there's a way you can make amends, or to see if there's a different way that you can live with it. How does anxiety and depression impact our daily life? Anxiety can trigger freezing and tremors. Depression lessens our motivation to take good care of our body through exercise, through good nutrition. Depression can also cause us to withdraw so much that the actual depression and the isolation act as a cycle and keep us withdrawn. Both anxiety and depression can negatively affect our sleep, our plan for future events, socializing and spending time in our community and with family and friends, our sexual and intimate life with our significant other, completing chores and errands. As you can see, anxiety and depression can affect every area of our day-to-day life. So, what do we want to do about it? Well, it is easily helped. Here are 3 straightforward things that we can do to help ourselves or our loved ones who may be experiencing anxiety or depression. First of all, medication. Medication is a straightforward, fairly quick option to help anxiety quiet down, to help depression bottom out and come up and stabilize. Usually those medications can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on what the medication is. There are many, many, many medications for depression and anxiety. All you have to do is let your doctor know that you're struggling with either one of those or both. You may find that you've got symptoms of both. And your doctor will help you figure out which medication will work best for you, given the medications you may already be on and given your life goals. Counseling. As a therapist, I can attest that many, many people get completely better from anxiety or depression by doing counseling. And research has shown that combining medication and counseling together is the most effective way to treat mood disorders. If you would like to start counseling, I will be happy to direct you to a couple of different people in the community. Please feel free to reach out to me. Easy to find online. You can also talk to your doctor or your nurse practitioner. People in your boxing community, people in your Parkinson's community. If you are also a boxer, people in your boxing community, people that you can trust, they will be happy to help you find someone to talk to. Your physical therapist, your occupational therapist, your dance instructor. Don't be shy about asking for a little bit of help. Counseling changes our thinking, and by changing our thought patterns, helps us develop positive thinking, helps us get more motivation, helps us look at our life and our situation and this particular chapter in a different way, which will help mobilize us to start doing the things that are going to help us feel better as well. And last but not least is our mindset. Changing our mindset can have an impact for you for the rest of your life, not just this chapter of your life. So let's look a little bit more at what you can do right now in changing your mindset. So neuroscience has made its way into my professional world, and we know that a decreased dopamine is linked to low motivation. Decreased serotonin is linked to lower mood. So we would like to do things that are going to increase the production of whatever dopamine we have and whatever serotonin we have. And there is so much literature about how nature does this for us. So, question number 2. Don't think too hard on this. Are you a water, a woods, or a mountain person? Figure out which one of those things you are, and if you're all 3, that's all the better. Research shows particularly that if you are exposing yourself to green nature, obviously leaves, trees, shrubs, grass, when you expose yourself to the woods and that color and nature in particular, that can affect multiple systems in our body and help us feel healthier, feel calmer. It helps us feel more centered. It helps with depression. It helps with anxiety. Nature is a powerful, powerful tool that you have. Okay, moving on to slide number 10. I asked you to connect to your inner self, your core self, a little while ago. I think I used the word essence. When you think about who you are, some of us believe that who we are starts and stops right here. Some of us believe that who we are is part of something bigger. It doesn't matter which thing you believe. Go inside, connect with your essence of you, connect with your spirituality, if that is something that you connect then to the outside world and to God or to the universe. Do that every day for a little bit of time, using mindfulness, meditation, using quiet reflection, using music, reading spiritual resources, attending church, synagogue, whatever it is for you that helps you feel centered and connected with your core self and essence. This will help transform your mindset. It brings calm, centeredness. It brings a sense of security. And over time, if you do this every day, it increases your ability to calm and soothe yourself faster, and it decreases how much you feel difficult stress. So I've been mentioning this a couple of times during this talk, and community is a powerful, powerful tool to not only fight back anxiety and depression, but to bring forward the positive, excited, focused mindset that you need and I need to handle this chapter in our life. So, community, feeling love, giving love to someone else, sharing a laugh, doing something together, whether it is needlework or cycling, whatever it might be. Doing that and being with other people that you enjoy, it's transformative. Relationships are critical for human beings. We don't generally survive without them. By the way, if you happen to be an introvert like I am, you may be asking yourself, well, I only like a little bit of time with people. I can completely relate to that, and I have to have alone time in order to recharge and be with people at work, be with my family. But I can say that the community that I have at Empower Parkinson's with my boxer friends, it enriches me, it enlivens me. I don't have to plug in order to go and be part of my group and my community, and I really wish that for you. Whatever community you identify with, I hope that going there gives you the energy and brings you that closeness when you're there. It's really, it's like magic, like nothing else is. Laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. When we smile, dopamine is released in our brains, and I just released some dopamine. I'm still a little bit nervous talking, but I'm also happy. Hey, pretty good combo. When we regularly laugh and smile in relationship with other people around the same kind of thing, pathways get created in our brains. Those positive pathways are how we can change our mindset and how we can fight against depression, fight against anxiety, and fight against whatever feelings we might have about having Parkinson's. So, buy a joke book, watch your favorite comedian, have a laughter Zoom party, and everyone get on Zoom and share your favorite jokes. Find ways to have a laugh every single day, okay? Send jokes to your grandkids. That's going to make you laugh regardless of how they react. With an, oh, grandma, they'll still be happy that they heard from you. Get moving. Exercise is proven to change the path of Parkinson's. Exercise can slow down its progression. It can reverse certain symptoms for some people. Get moving. How, what, that is up to you. There are going to be some wonderful talks on this conference from other professionals who can tell you which exercises might work better for Parkinson's. I'm not going to get into that. What I know is that if you move your body, that's going to get some good stuff happening, whether it's taking your dog for a walk or whether it's going and hitting a punching bag to release some anger about this stupid disease. Get moving. Using your head and your heart, you can change your mindset and you can change this chapter of your life. I hope that this has lit a small flame inside of you, or if you have a flame and they're already lit, I hope that we've fanned it and it's growing and burning brighter than ever. I hope you're ready to embrace what you have in your life, what you have right now, and what you can reach for to make your life feel better now and to change that chapter now. Your mindset is your ticket to living your life with PD as fully and as you can. Catch your mindset, access your community, accept what you can't change, make choices, and hope. Hope changes the chemistry in your brain and it can change everything. Thank you. Okay.
Good.